Attention, passionate Dallas Cowboys fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East, and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Dallas Cowboys' path to another championship run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before we dive in, if you're a true Dallas Cowboys fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and fellow Dallas Cowboys fans. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been following the NFL this season, you know that the landscape is shifting in ways we haven't seen in recent years. And when it comes to the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys are still sitting pretty, but the division is heating up, and recent moves and performances are signaling that this could be a turning point. The Cowboys, as many of you know, have been building a solid roster under Mike McCarthy, with a focus on a balanced attack that combines a dominant defense with an improving offense led by Dak Prescott. But beyond the on-field talent, what really keeps us on the edge of our seats is how the division rivals are maneuvering behind the scenes, trying to find ways to close the gap or even leap ahead. And one of the most intriguing recent developments involves a team that has been somewhat of a wild card this season, the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, the Colts, coming off a tough loss, made a surprising move that has caught the attention of NFL experts and fans alike. They signed linebacker Buddy Johnson from the Dallas Cowboys practice squad to their active roster. Now, this might not sound like a blockbuster move at first glance after all. Johnson has been a bit of a fringe player for Dallas, mostly showing up on special teams and not exactly lighting up the stat sheet. But this move is loaded with implications, especially if you're a Cowboys fan who has been paying close attention to roster dynamics and the evolving landscape of NFL talent. To understand why this signing matters, we need to dig a little into Buddy Johnson's background. He was a fourth-round pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, taken by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and after a couple of seasons, he found his way to Dallas. His journey with the Cowboys has been somewhat of a roller coaster. He has been mostly on the practice squad, with a brief appearance in one game earlier this season, just 18 special teams snaps in Week 1 against the Giants. Since then, he hasn't seen much action on defense. Still, his physicality and potential have kept him on teams' radars, and now the Colts are betting that he can bring some much-needed depth to their linebacker core. And let us be honest, this move is more than just about filling a roster spot. It speaks volumes about the Colts' strategy to rebound after their first loss of the season. They were 3-1, which is pretty solid, but that loss to the Rams exposed some vulnerabilities, especially in their linebacker rotation. With injuries at other positions like their linebacker Jalen Keekes, who was placed on injured reserve, but is now eligible to return, they were clearly looking to bolster their depth. The signing of Johnson may be a sign that the Colts are trying to reinforce their defense, especially on special teams, but also as a potential rotational player on defense if he impresses during practice. Now, I want you to pause here for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it is super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it is quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let us continue with the big reveal. This move by the Colts raises an interesting question for Cowboys fans and NFL analysts alike. What does this say about Dallas? Well, first, it is important to remember that Buddy Johnson has been on the practice squad, meaning he is not a core defensive starter for Dallas. But his departure sheds light on some roster decisions that the Cowboys might be facing soon. Could this be a sign that Dallas is planning to make some moves of their own? Maybe they see areas where they want to add more depth, especially on special teams or linebacker, as the season progresses. Or perhaps the Cowboys are comfortable with their current linebacker rotation, trusting the young talent like Micah Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch, and Damon Clark to carry the load. However, it is also worth mentioning that the Cowboys have been relatively healthy this season compared to previous years, but injuries are always lurking around the corner in the NFL. The linebacker position in particular can be unpredictable with the physical toll of the game. So, while the current roster looks solid, the league's nature is such that teams are constantly adjusting, bringing in reinforcements, and making strategic moves to stay competitive. This situation with the Colts also highlights how important roster management is in the NFL. Teams are always looking for undervalued players or those with potential to step up. Buddy Johnson fits that mold, a player with size, speed, and a knack for special teams. For the Colts, adding him could be a move that provides more flexibility in their defense, especially as they try to avoid falling further behind in their division. But let us shift gears a little. The Colts' move might seem minor on the surface, but it is part of a bigger picture. It shows how every team is actively trying to find an edge to improve their depth and to prepare for the grind of the NFL season. For Dallas, this is a reminder that the competition is fierce and that even players who are on the practice squad can become valuable chess pieces in the grand game of roster management. Now, turning our attention back to the Cowboys, it's worth noting how they've started this season. They've shown flashes of brilliance, especially on offense, with Dak Prescott leading a balanced attack that features a mix of veteran experience and young talent. CeeDee Lamb has been fantastic, establishing himself as one of the league's top receivers, and the running game, led by Tony Pollard, has been dynamic when healthy. The offensive line has been solid, providing Prescott enough time to operate and make plays. But as we all know, football is a game of inches and mistakes, and the Cowboys have had their share of bumps along the road. Defensively, Dallas has been a force to be reckoned with. Micah Parsons, in particular, continues to be a game wrecker on the edge, terrorizing quarterbacks and making plays all over the field. His explosiveness and relentless motor have become the cornerstone of what Dallas is building on defense. The secondary, led by Trevon Diggs, has been opportunistic, creating turnovers and providing the kind of disruption that wins games. Yet, even with this formidable unit, every team faces challenges, whether it's dealing with injuries or facing high-powered offenses. And speaking of high-powered offenses, the Cowboys' upcoming opponents are no joke. The NFC East is loaded with talented quarterbacks and explosive offenses, and Dallas must stay sharp every week. The Philadelphia Eagles are still flying high, the New York Giants are trying to find consistency, and Washington's defense is always a threat. So every game is a test, and the Cowboys are aware that to keep their Super Bowl aspirations alive, they need to stay disciplined, play smart, and capitalize on every opportunity. Now let us talk about the broader picture. The Cowboys, with a 3-1 record, are sitting in a good spot, but the NFL season is long and unpredictable. Injuries, turnovers, or even a bad game can alter the trajectory quickly. That's why every move, every game plan, and every player's effort counts so much. The recent signing of Buddy Johnson by the Colts may seem like a small piece, but it's part of this larger chess match that is the NFL season. It's about how teams adapt, how they find hidden gems, and how they manage their rosters to stay ahead of the competition. For Dallas fans, the key takeaway is that your team remains a serious contender. The roster is talented, the coaching staff is sharp, and the season is still very much open, but we should keep an eye on how other teams are maneuvering, like the Colts, who are trying to reinforce their defense, or even division rivals who are making their own moves to improve. The NFL is a league where every inch, every play, and every decision matters, and the Cowboys are in a position where they can capitalize on this competitive landscape if they stay focused and continue to execute at a high level. As we look ahead to Week 5, Dallas will face some tough challenges, but they also have opportunities to assert their dominance in the division. The NFC East is shaping up to be one of the most exciting divisions this season, with each team capable of turning things around or falling behind. The Cowboys need to keep their eyes on the prize, stay disciplined, and make sure they be prepared for everything that comes their way. And with that, there's always room for some surprises, whether it's a breakout game from a young player or a strategic move that shifts the balance of power. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What is your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. Do you think they should make a move to bolster their linebacker core, or are you confident in the current roster? Whatever your thoughts, let us get the conversation going. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news. The season is heating up, and we're here to cover every twist and turn, bringing you all the insights, analysis, and excitement you crave. Thanks for being part of this journey, and as always, go Cowboys.